Just imagine having this like incredible research assistant, right? One that can summarize these dense, impossible to read scientific papers in just seconds. And then boom, whips up a perfect email for you. Oh, and while we're at it, creates your presentations too, all before you've even finished your coffee. We used to think that was pure science fiction, something out of a movie.
It really is mind-blowing when you think about it. How fast AI is becoming so normal.
Yeah.
Part of everything we do at work, really. I mean, it's not some futuristic fantasy anymore. It's right here. And it's changing how we do even the simplest things.
Totally. I mean, it's everywhere you look. And that's exactly what we're going to dig into today. AI changing how we work, the whole landscape. And we've got some seriously cool stuff to unpack, like work from Eduardo Tornos y de Insa.
He's doing some groundbreaking work in AI and healthcare.
Yeah.
Really fascinating stuff.
For sure. And there's this new article from Nature, the journal. They surveyed like over 1,000 scientists about their thoughts on AI. Should be interesting to hear what they have to say.
Before we get too far ahead of ourselves, though, maybe we should, define what we even mean when we say AI. It's one of those terms that's, well, everywhere these days.
Good point. Yeah, it's easy to throw around. So just to be clear, we're not just talking about any old computer program, right?
Right.
Like, what makes it different from the software we use every day?
That's the key question, really. The big difference is how AI systems are designed. It's in their DNA.
Yeah.
So unlike your regular software, which basically follows a set of pre-programmed instructions step by step, AI is built to learn, to adapt, almost like a human brain in a way.
Okay, yeah, that's what makes it so different. But how does it actually learn? Like, walk me through it.
It all starts with data. And I mean mountains of data. Think of it like, feeding an AI system a library full of information. Everything you can think of on one specific topic.
Okay, so it's absorbing all this information.
Exactly. Then the AI uses these things called algorithms, which are basically sets of rules, to go through all that data. It looks for patterns, connections, and, well, it learns from it.
So it's not just spitting back what it's been fed, it's actually understanding it.
Yeah, that's the intelligence part.
Yeah.
It could use what it's learned to solve new problems, make predictions, even do things that used to require, well, us. Human intelligence.
That's wild. So is that basically what machine learning is? Something I feel like I hear about constantly these days.
Ding, ding, ding. You got it. Machine learning is a huge part of AI. Think of it this way. When you teach a computer to recognize what a cat looks like, that's machine learning in action.
Okay, so it's looking at a bunch of pictures of cats.
Exactly. It's learning from all that data.
Mm-hmm.
So eventually, it can spot a cat in any new picture.
Makes sense. But then there's also deep learning, which always seemed even more complicated, to be honest.
Oh, it definitely gets more complex. Deep learning, that's like the next level of machine learning. If machine learning is teaching a computer to spot a cat in a picture, deep learning is teaching it to understand like the very essence of a cat.
What makes a cat a cat?
Exactly. And how it's different from a dog, a lion, even like a fluffy hat.
So it's not just recognizing a pattern, it's almost like developing its own understanding of what things are, right?
You got it. It's like AI is developing its own senses. And that's where things get really exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Because as AI gets even more, advanced, it goes beyond just these algorithms and crunching numbers. We're talking systems that can mimic human senses, stuff like vision and speech recognition.
Whoa. So we're basically teaching machines to experience the world the way we do.
In a way, yeah. But the really cool part is what this all means, practically speaking. That's where generative AI comes in.
Okay, yeah, generative AI. Everyone and their mother is talking about that one.
There's a good reason for the hype, believe me. It's a total game changer. So, traditional AI, that focuses on analyzing data that's already out there, right? Generative AI, it takes things a step further. It takes that data and it actually creates new content from it. Think text, images, music, even videos.
It's like going from understanding information to actually creating something new from it.
Yes. And that's what has everyone so fired up. It's like having a creative partner in crime, one who can whip up a blog post for you, compose a song, design a presentation, all perfectly tailored to what you need.
Tornos y de Insa, he actually uses these tools in his own work, right?
He does. He talks about this tool called Ideogram.
Ideogram, huh?
It's a generative AI platform that lets you create these super unique images. And they're copyright free. Think of the possibilities.
I'm already thinking about it. For presentations, marketing, even just visualizing ideas, right?
Exactly. And it's not just standalone tools either. Even platforms like Canva, which a lot of people are familiar with, they're integrating AI now too.
Oh, wow, I didn't know that.
Yep. They have tools for editing stuff, building presentations, even coming up with new design ideas.
So you don't have to be a design whiz to create something that looks professional anymore.
That's the beauty of it. And it's not limited to, visual stuff either. Tornasida talks about tools like Perplexity. It's an AI search engine.
Now, that's interesting. We've all used search engines, obviously. What makes one powered by AI different?
Think of it like this. With a regular search engine, you type in some keywords, and it tries to find websites that match.
Right.
Perplexity, it actually tries to figure out what you're really asking, like the meaning behind your search.
So it's not just about matching words. It's about understanding what you want to know.
Exactly. And then it gives you the information that's actually relevant. It's like having a conversation with a super smart librarian, someone who can decode your rambling question and point you in the right direction.
Okay, that makes way more sense. Instead of a million random results, you get what you actually need.
Right. And for those of us who deal with a ton of research, there's another tool that Tornasida mentions called Elicit.
Elicit, okay.
It's like having an AI research assistant, one that can summarize these complex scientific papers for you. It pulls out the key findings, even highlights the limitations of the research, which is so important.
That would be a lifesaver. Okay, this is all incredibly cool, but I want to pause for a second. For the average person listening, who might not be a scientist or a designer, what's the big deal with all this generative AI stuff? Like, how does it actually change things for them?
That's the million-dollar question, right? And the answer is, well, it's not just about making things faster or easier, though it definitely does that. Generative AI has the potential to fundamentally change how we approach creativity, how we solve problems.
So it's kind of like giving everyone access to superpowers they didn't even know they had.
I love that. That's a great way to put it. These tools, they can help us overcome writer's block. They can help us visualize complex ideas. We can even use them to uncover hidden insights in mountains of data. And the crazy thing is, this is just the beginning.
It really does feel like we're just scratching the surface here.
Exactly.
So we've talked about what AI is, how it learns, and we've even touched on some of the cool tools out there. But now I want to dive deeper into one area where AI is already having a huge impact healthcare.
And there's no one better to guide us than Eduardo Tornasida. He's really on the front lines of this revolution in medicine.
So Tornasida, he's really painting this picture of how AI is revolutionizing healthcare, right?
It really is incredible. I mean, the possibilities are endless, really.
And one of the things that really jumped out at me was this idea of personalized medicine.
Yeah, that's something he's really passionate about.
So paint a picture for me. What does that even look like? Personalized medicine, I mean.
So imagine a world where treatments for something like cancer, let's say, they're not just based on, the disease itself, but they're tailored to you, to your unique DNA, your medical history, everything.
Wow. So it's like taking all that makes you, you, and creating a treatment plan just for you.
Exactly. That's the kind of future AI is making possible.
That's a huge leap from how we usually do things, the whole one-size-fits-all approach.
Totally. And it goes beyond just treatment, too. There are AI tools being developed right now that can actually help doctors diagnose diseases faster and more accurately than ever before.
Really? Even with all the technology we have now?
Oh, yeah. Imagine an AI system that can analyze medical images, like X-rays or scans. It can pick up on these tiny little details, things that even the most experienced doctor might miss.
Oh, wow.
Or picture this. It can go through, years of a patient's records.
All that data.
And it can flag potential problems, risk factors, things to watch out for.
It's like having this, extra pair of eyes, but, a supercomputer for a brain. And it's all dedicated to making sure patients are getting the absolute best care possible.
That's a great way to put it. And we can't forget about the impact on medical research. I mean, that's huge, too.
Right, because finding new treatments takes a long time and a lot of money.
Exactly. But Tornasida talks about how AI is turbocharging the drug discovery process.
Okay, so instead of spending years and years in the lab,
instead of testing thousands of compounds, scientists can use AI to analyze huge amounts of data. We're talking genetic information, clinical trial results, you name it. And they can pinpoint the most promising drug candidates way faster.
So potentially we're talking about cures for diseases that have been around for centuries and finding them in a fraction of the time.
It really could change everything. It's pretty incredible when you think about it. But, and this is important, with any really powerful technology, there are always, potential downsides. We have to think about those too.
Right. I mean, the whole robots are taking over the world thing comes to mind. But how much of that is hype and how much is a real concern when we're talking about AI, especially in the workplace?
It's a question everyone's asking, for sure. And yeah, it's true. AI will probably automate certain tasks, jobs even. There will likely be some job losses, at least in some fields. But we have to remember, history shows us that whenever we have these big technological leaps, there are always disruptions in the job market.
You're right.
And think about the printing press, the assembly line, even the internet. Remember how freaked out everyone was when the internet became a thing? And all of those things, they led to the creation of whole new industries, jobs no one could have imagined before. And I think AI is going to be similar.
So instead of being afraid of AI like it's some job-stealing monster, we should be thinking about how we can adapt.
Exactly.
What kind of skills are we going to need to thrive in this new world?
Yeah, that's the really interesting part. Of course, technical skills are always going to be important, right? But I think it's the things that make us human, those skills, that are going to be even more valuable.
Like what? Give me some examples.
Think creativity, critical thinking, being able to solve complex problems, emotional intelligence. AI can't replicate that, at least not yet. And being able to collaborate, not just with other humans, but with AI systems too, that's going to be crucial.
So it's not just about learning how to code. It's about, like, how to think critically, how to adapt to new situations, how to use what makes us human in a world where AI is doing more and more of the routine stuff.
Exactly. We need to view AI as this powerful tool that can help us.
Not something to be afraid of.
Right. It can help us do things we never thought were possible.
So we work with it, not against it.
Yes. And I think as AI gets even more sophisticated, it raises a whole other set of questions like, how is this going to change how we think?
Whoa. That's a pretty deep thought right there. I mean, where do we even begin to unpack that? It's kind of a lot to wrap your head around, isn't it?
It really is.
Like, if we're letting AI do more of the thinking, the things that used to be, just for us humans, does that change how our brains work?
That's the big question, isn't it?
It really is.
I mean, think about it. We're depending more and more on AI to analyze information, make decisions, even be creative, right?
Right.
So are we risking our own abilities to think for ourselves, to make those judgment calls?
It's like that saying, right? Give a man a fish, feed him for a day, teach a man to fish, feed him for life.
Exactly.
Are we so busy letting AI give us the answers that we forget how to find them ourselves?
I love that analogy. And
Yeah.
it goes beyond just us as individuals, right? If AI is changing how we work, how we make decisions, even how we think creatively, what does that mean for, society as a whole? There aren't any easy answers to that.
No, but it's a conversation we need to have.
100%. We have to at least be thinking about these things.
Totally. So for everyone listening who's just kind of dipping their toes into this whole AI world, what's the big takeaway? Where do we even begin?
This deep dive has been great, don't get me wrong. But this is really just the tip of the iceberg. My advice: don't just listen to us talk about it, Go out there and explore it for yourself. Try things out. There are so many AI tools available now, and a lot of them are free, or at least really affordable.
It's like anything else, right? The best way to really understand something is to just go for it, try it out, see what it's all about.
Exactly. Play around with generative AI. See what it can do. Try an AI-powered search engine. You might be surprised, not just by what you learn about AI, but what you learn about yourself, how you think, how you approach things.
It's about being curious, right? And not being afraid of AI, seeing it as something that can help us open up new possibilities. Think about what you're passionate about. What are the problems you want to solve in the world? AI could be the key to unlocking those answers.
That's such a good point. It's honestly a really amazing time to be alive, don't you think?
It really is. Maybe a little bit scary, yeah, but mostly amazing. And that's what the deep dive is all about, exploring these big ideas, these topics that are shaping our world. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time for another deep dive.